Greetings, YouTubians! Welcome to another weapon in our Monster Hunter World tutorial series. Up next, we have everyone's favorite boomstick, the Gunlance. If you would like to be the best boomsticker you can be, stick around. I hope you enjoy the video. Now, with all new weapons you aspire to be good at, you should consult your hunter notes. In the future of this tutorial, I'll be using these controls as a guide. So first, we'll be going over slinger ammo and what it means for the Gunlance. You will need slinger ammo on your person almost all the time. You can load your slinger ammo into your Gunlance. Just aim your slinger and push the buttons you would for a strong attack. Next, you want to fire the slinger ammo charged worm stake into the monster. You can do this several ways. The best way whenever you're just sitting there with your weapon drawn is to fire 3 consecutive shelling attacks. On the third shelling, you'll inject the worm stake. In order to reload the worm stake back into the Gunlance, you will need to perform a full reload. Simply guard and press the shelling button. Every time one of your shells explodes and hits the injected worm stake, it explodes for extra damage. This damage is not affected by any sort of slinger ammo that you put into the stake. The duration, however, is monster slinger ammo just lasts longer than not monster slinger ammo, and thorn pods last the most. The Gunlance has another attack called Wyvern's Fire. Wyvern's Fire can be performed by guarding while pressing the strong attack buttons. This attack recharges over time, almost 2 minutes, 110 seconds to be exact. Next, we have a quick reload. A quick reload can be performed by holding down the guard button and pressing the shelling button at the same time after an attack. If you do it in the middle of a combo, it reloads all of your shells, but not your worm stake. If the monster is not giving you a well opportunity to attack it with shelling damage, you can just attack it with standard attacks like you would the regular lance. Something cool, if you perform a directional input forward and then press the standard attack, you will attack the sky. While your weapon is in the sky, if you perform shelling damage, you will shoot into the sky. And if a Rathalos or something is flying above you, this is the best way to damage them. Now I'll go over the best way to deal damage with the Gunlance overall. If you perform a strong attack, after any other attack, you will perform the overhead smash. Whenever you press the shelling button after an overhead smash, you immediately dump all of your shells in a burst fire. The best way to deal damage is to immediately quick reload after this burst fire, overhead smash again, and then burst fire again. If you shell in air, you will perform an aerial burst fire. You can slide down a cliff with your weapon drawn. All you have to do is perform a standard attack. If you're having an issue shelling or you have a squirrely monster, just stab it to death. However, the overhead smash burst fire combo does do the most damage. Now, as standard with my weapon tutorial series, we'll go into practicals. I am fighting a raging Brachydios, so I'm going to go ahead and eat for feline safeguard. If you're having trouble fighting a monster and you find yourself fainting a lot and you'd like a little bit more feints, go ahead and click a link in the top right to watch a video on how to feint 7 times. Normally, I would wall bash the monster, but my compatriot, Soggy Ramen here, is going to do that for me. But I will load my slinger ammo into my Gunlance while he does that. Since I have the opportunity, I strategically would like to place my Wormstake cannon in Raging Brachy's fisticuffs. I see an opportunity to use Wyvern's Fire, and I do, as it does perform a lot of exhaust damage. Remember, it is completely fine to bail from a combo instead of getting your face smacked. You should always take good ledge opportunities from any monster. Here you'll see the damage combo with the infinite burst reload technique. Just after the burst fire, perform a standard attack. You'll do what's called a wide sweep, and then you'll quick reload, and you'll be able to burst fire again. There's actually several different ways to play the Gunlance. The most damaging way you can play the Gunlance is with a normal type shelling, which is what I'm using here from the Safi. I think that if you're going to have one gun lance, you should use the Safi's gun lance because you can change the shelling type. The aerial burst fires are very good when you can use them. Here you'll see me ignoring my health bar entirely and proccing this feline safeguard. All in all, if you just get good with the burst fire reload technique, a lot of your damage is just going to come from that. And then I'll go over decos. So the gun lance actually has a lot of specific decos, unlike a lot of weapons. One of the most important aspects of the gun lance is the decoration artillery. You can have a 5 stack of artillery if you have either Fatalis or Zora Magdaros's armor. So artillery is very important because it just increases the damage output of all your shells by 50% if you can get 5 stacks. A lot of people like to run with earplugs so you don't get roared out of your burst fire combos, and whenever the monster is roaring, you can perform 2 extra burst fire combos on it. But it is not a prerequisite. Stone Thrower makes your Wyvern Stakes last longer. I have a reference guide right here that I will show you. As much as I would like to give credit to whoever made this particular table, I could not find the creator of this. This is just in a random Reddit post that I found. It is accurate. I tested a couple of these numbers out, and thank you, creator. If anyone knows who he is, you can put his name into the comments and I'll go ahead and pin his comment. The other one is the shield jewel. Shield is guard up. It basically, any weapon that has a shield should have guard up on it. The only thing that can block that shouldn't have guard up is probably a great sword. The shaver jewel. So the lance is a heavy weapon, and whenever you attack a monster with your clutch claw, you weaken it, but the gun lance only drops slinger ammo. So if you have a shaver jewel, it drops slinger ammo and it weakens the monster for every weapon that the shaver jewel's on. This is, I think, quintessential for the gun lance because of how often you need slinger ammo in your build. That's not to say the gun lance can't weaken a part, you just have to do it twice. We have magazine jewels. It is called capacity boost. It increases the amount of shells your gun can hold by 1. You should always have capacity boost. It is very important to note that all attack and crit builds do not work on shelling damage. So it doesn't matter how many attack boosts you run, your shelling damage will not increase. Since half of your damage comes from shelling, I would not bother with attack jewels. I would spend it on other jewels that make the play more comfortable, because the gun lance itself is not a high DPS weapon. It is mid-range for DPS, and it is high for defense. So you are a very good tank with the gun lance. However, if you want to stab a monster to death, run attack jewels, of course. Now, there is another perk. It is called Protective Polish. Protective Polish gives you a minute of invulnerability to your sharpness gauge. The shelling attacks are not affected by your sharpness until you get past into the green zone. That is when your damage from shelling starts to decrease. So I also don't run Protective Polish. Although deflecting off of a monster could be a problem, and depending on the monster, you may wish to run a decoration such as Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye prevents your weapon from bouncing off of monsters regardless of your sharpness. Now there are 3 types of Gunlance shellers. There's normal, long, and wide. Wide only has a capacity of 2, and normal has a capacity of 5. No one uses long because long's benefit is charged shell multiplier. Now, charged shell takes a long time, and it's not worth your salt to use it, in my opinion, but play what you like. The normal one has an increased damage to burst fire, so most people run the normal one. The wide one has a bonus damage to Wyvern's Fire and Wormstake Cannon, so if you're doing weird things like the Snowman run on a Fatalis, you probably want a wide Gunlance. So that was my Gunlance tutorial. If you liked it, like it. If I can do a better job, please tell me how I can do a better job. I want to make content creation for all of y'all. and I want to do my best at it. So if there's something I can do better, or something I got wrong, please let me know in the comments. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a good day.